מאחורי רפאל ועל ראשי ועל ראשי שכי
Shabbat Shalom, welcome everyone, those who are here with us in the main sanctuary, those who are watching online here in Miami, those who are in other places of the country, in other places of the world. We are here together, connected through different ways, through different means, but we are here all together, and we celebrate that togetherness. How beautiful, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to be sitting, to be worshiping, to be living together. הנה מה טוב ובנעים, שבת אחים תמיד.
הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם
I invite you to rise wherever you are as we offer the blessing for the Shabbat candles. Hopefully they were already lit, and if not, you can join with us in this saying this blessing of sharing light, kindling the flames of the peace and the joy and the holiness of this Shabbat. Let's join together in concentration as we cover our eyes and we summon the spirit, the Ruach of this holy day. Let's join together in blessing the Shabbat candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav
Shabbat Shalom. We wish you a Shabbat Shalom. You may be seated. Our Kabbalat Shabbat service begins. Yudit Nefesh, prayer of connection. God, our soulmate. Middle of page 2 in the pamphlets that hopefully you're able to follow along with online on our Facebook feed and on our website. Join together with us, middle of page 2.
Yedid Nefesh Av HaRachaman Meshoch Avdecha Beretzonecha Yarutz Avdecha Kemo Ayal Yishtachaveh El Mul Hadarecha Yeravlo Yedidutecha Minofet Suf Vechotam Adonai Ziv Haolam Nafshi Cholat Avatecha Ana Elna Refana Lach Be'arot Lach Noam Zivecha Az Titchazer V'titrapeh V'haytalach Simchat Olam Yadadai-dai-dai, yadadai-dai-dai-dai, 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 yadadai-dai-dai-dai,
Six psalms, one for each day of the week. Each of these psalms is an opportunity to look back at the week that we leave behind, reflect on the week and the year that we leave behind, but also to look forward to another 6 days between now and the next Shabbat. Beginning with the words of Psalm 95, let us sing to Adonai, rejoice in our Creator, Lekun and Adonai, bottom of page 2.
Lechu neranena l'Adonai nariya letzur Ishenu bekanav hanav betoda bizmirot nariya lo bekanav hanav betoda bizmirot nariya lo El gadol l'Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim asher beyado mechere haaretz v'toafot harim lo asher beyado mechere haaretz v'toafot harim lo Yai
rejoice with nature, the heavens, the earth, the sea, and all that they contain. Top of page 3, Yismachu Hashemayim.
Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Betagel Haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Betagel Haaretz. Yiram Hayam, 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 Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Betagel
Haaretz. Pray together with the instruments of our souls and our voices, but also of our hands. Psalm 98 speaks of those instruments from ancient days until this one, middle of page 3. Join with us. Sing at home from wherever you are. Psalm 98.
Zamru Adonai Bechinor Bekol Zimra Bachatzotzot Bekol Shofar Harim Lifnei HaMelech Adonai Yiram Hayam Lo Tevel Ve'Yoshveva Meharot Yimcha Uchaf Yachad Harim Yiraneinu Yachad Harim Yiraneinu Lifnei Adonai Kiva Lishbot Haaretz Yishbot Tevel B'Tzedek Be'amim Be'Meisharim Yiram Hayam Lo Tevel Ve'Yoshveva Meharot Yimcha Uchaf Yachad Harim Yiraneinu Yachad Harim Yiraneinu.
Exalt the Lord and our God, and worship at God's holy mountain. Bottom of page 3.
Domemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishachavu להרגושו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להרגושו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להרגושו. רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להרגושו.
We rise if we're able, in body or in spirit, join together Psalm 29 on page 4, Mizmor LeDavid.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בנהלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד בעוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, ישתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש. כל אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד ירים, אדוני על מים רבים. כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון. וירדם כמו עגל לבנון וסריון, כמו בן רעמים. כל אדוני עוצר לחודש, כל אדוני יחיל מדבר, יחיל אדוני מדבר קדש. כל אדוני יכול אלי עלות, ויחזוב יערות, ובחלו כולו אומר כבוד, כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למה בו ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. את עמו, את עמו, את עמו
May be seated. Central prayer of the Kabbalat Shabbat service, the poem that welcomes Shabbat into this night, into our hearts, and into the space in which we find ourselves, whether it be here, physically in our sanctuary, or spiritually online in our sanctuary. And some of us may have awoken this morning, depending on how late you stayed up last night, feeling maybe a bit refreshed, an opportunity to begin again, to feel that something is new. And I think every single week we have that same opportunity to sit down on a Friday night and to look back on the week, to bid it farewell and to take a deep breath and to welcome the Spirit, the peace, the holiness of this Shabbat. So I don't know what resolutions you may have been making, but maybe one of them can be to set aside this one day a week in 2021, a little more sanctity, a little more reverence, a little more respect, however you choose to make that special, but make it special. One day a week, a gift to us to celebrate the gift of life, the blessing of just living one more week, being surrounded by people however we are able, and feeling a sense of gratitude for what we have, for who we are, and for this world that has been given to us. Join now with us, page 5, L'Chadodi. The entrance to our homes, to this space, we bow to welcome Shabbat.
Toi v'shalom ובצוהלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת
Shabbat, we are also welcomed by Shabbat, by the Ruach, by the atmosphere, by the spirit of Shabbat. And as we enter that holy place in time, we acknowledge that we spend a lot of time focusing on having, building, making. Shabbat is the time in which we focus on being. We take a deep breath. We acknowledge how our soul is transformed as we enter this palace in time. We exhale all the mundane, the earthly thoughts. We commit ourselves to spend the next 25 hours trying just to be. It is good to thank you, O Lord, and sing to your name most high. Tov le'odot la'Adonai u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Bottom of page 5.
Adonai, Tov leodot l'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tov leodot l'Adonai,
Final verses of the Sabbath Psalm. Tzaddik katamar yifrach. The righteous will flourish like the palm tree and grow mighty like the cedar of Lebanon. Even in old age they will bear fruit, retaining their vigor and their strength. Top of page 6. Tzaddik katamar.
Tzaddik katamar yifrach ke'eretz balbanon yizkeh shetulim bebeit Adonai bechasrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yelufun beseva teshenim erananim iyu lehadi yashar Adonai suri velo avlatapo. Adonai malach geut lavesh, lavesh Adonai ozit azal, aftikon tevel baltimot, aftikon tevel baltimot, nachon kisacha meyaz, me'olam atah. Nasu nerot Adonai, nasu nerot kolam, yisu nerot ochyam, bikolot mayim rabim, adirim mishvereyam, adir bamarom Adonai, adir bamarom Adonai. Elotecha nemnu meod, bebeitcha na'ava kodesh, Adonai leorech yamim, Adonai leorech yamim, mikolot mayim rabim, adirim mishbereyam, adir bamarom Adonai, adir bamarom Adonai.
Transition now from the Kabbalat Shabbat service into the formal evening worship with the blessings of the Baruch Hu. So I invite you to rise in your places, in body or in spirit, middle of page 6. Blessings that call us together as a kehillah of the Baruch Hu.
Die, die, die. Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
May be seated. Continue privately the blessings of the evening service, middle of page 6, Ma'ariv Aravim. Blessing that acknowledges God as the one who separates night from day and darkness from light.
El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim.
Final blessing before the Shema speaks of God's love for us through the gift of the Torah and the path of the mitzvot. Bottom of page 6, the final blessing before the Shema.
ויעבדך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל.
Page 7.
שמע Israel, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת להם ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית כנף ותיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית, וראיתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, הייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמן. Page 8, Song of Redemption, Song of Freedom, Song of the Children of Israel sang as they crossed the Red Sea, opening their way to the land of promises, the land of freedom, the land of redemption, the land of Israel. Together, who is like you, Adonai? Come on, Adonai, page 2.
כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. לא תהילות אוסף אליך, לא תהילות אוסף אליך. Who is like you? Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, Adonai? Moses and the children crossed the sea. They sang to you with songs of joy. Who is like you, Adonai? Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Lo tehilot osef
Middle of page 8, prayer for peace in the darkness, for protection and for shelter. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and to awaken to life. Guard us and shield us from sadness, from sorrow, from disease, from destruction. Guard us always and everywhere. Bless us, our families, our community, our people, the holy city of Jerusalem, the state of Israel, and all of humanity. Spread a shelter of peace over all of us as we say Amen. Middle of page 8, we join together, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu. Sukkot Shlomecha aleinu sukkah shlomecha baruch atah Adonai hapores sukkah shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al Yerushalayim. Amen.
Rise as we proclaim the sanctity of Shabbat and shine with the words from the Torah. The people of Israel shall observe the Shabbat, maintaining it through all their generations as an everlasting covenant.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות בברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות בברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות בברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות בברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות בברית עולם.
Before we offer privately the Amidah, the standing individual prayer, 6 Hebrew words, Adonai, Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tilatecha, we ask that God help us to pray, to open up our mouths, to help us dig deep, to reflect, to pause, to breathe, to stand in awe, and to connect. O Lord, we ask that you open up our lips so that our mouths might declare your praise. Middle of page 9.
Adonai, Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Adonai, Sfatai Tiftach, Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Yadadai,
Private Amida, middle of page 9 to the bottom of page 11, either in the Hebrew or the translation, or any personal prayer of your heart. Still davening the Amidah, please continue your private prayers. If you have concluded, you may be seated as we offer a prayer for healing, for wholeness. Something we always have done, but certainly during this period it's taken on increased intensity and significance and importance. We hold all those in our lives, in our community, in this congregation, all around the world who are suffering illness, who are in need of strength, who are in need of physical healing, emotional well-being. We hold them in our hearts, we lift them up, we keep them in our prayers. The Mishaberach for Cholim can be found on the top of page 12. Join together with us.
Lavoteinu those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I remember years ago, after I was ordained as a rabbi, and while my grandfather of blessed memory was still alive, my maternal grandfather, every Shabbat evening at his home, we would have some kind of an argument. When it was time for Kiddush, he would say, Rabbi, please do Kiddush. And I would say, grandfather trumps Rabbi, you do Kiddush. And we would fight for a couple of minutes to see what was more important, to be a rabbi or to be a grandfather. And as the rabbi, I always won that discussion and had my grandfather bless us with the words of Kiddush. I think being a grandfather, being a grandmother is perhaps one of the most important titles that life can give you. And it is in this week's Parsha that we see the first moment, the first encounter between a grandfather and his grandchildren, when we see Jacob, Yaakov, our patriarch, bless his grandchildren Ephraim and Menashe. The Torah begins, at the very beginning of the Torah, with a story of perhaps the most conflictive of all family relationships, which is our relationship with our siblings. It's not easy to get along with your brother, with your sister. The moment they arrive into the world, if you are the oldest, you feel that they are taking some of your space. If you are the youngest, you believe that there were some things that were already experienced in that home. And the relationship between siblings is destined to be complicated, to be full of conflict. That doesn't mean that it cannot be beautiful. It cannot be perhaps one of the most beautiful relationships that we can build, but it's a challenge. And in the other end of the book of Genesis, at the end of Sefer Bereshit, we see perhaps one of the easiest, one of the most peaceful, the most pure, the most holy relationships that we can have in our family, which is the relationship with our grandparents. You know, as much as a relationship with a brother or a sister is destined to be complicated, our relationship with grandparents is destined to be easy, to be peaceful. I cannot imagine grandchildren fighting with their grandparents. They are the ones who give us everything that our parents don't give us. They are the ones who spoil us, who treat us with gifts, with trips. So many memories that I can think of how I became a Jew, basically at my grandparents' table. And we see that at that moment, at the peak of the book of Bereshit, Jacob asked his son Joseph to bring his two children, Ephraim and Menashe. And when Joseph brings Ephraim and Menashe, Yaakov asked, who are these? And it's very interesting because if you're following the book of Genesis, you know that Jacob has been living already 17 years in the land of Egypt, very close to Joseph. So it's strange that he doesn't recognize his own grandchildren. And the biblical commentators are puzzled by this. Some will say, well, he was blind, he was old, he was senile. He was not saying who they are, just as asking, their names. He was implying other things. But this year I can relate to this in a different way. I can imagine many grandparents looking at their grandchildren very soon, after almost a year of not seeing each other, and asking, who are these? How much you grew so fast? You are a different person. I look at my own children and I see them grow every day. But when they see their grandparents again, after a year and a half of not seeing each other, well, probably the grandparents will ask, who are these? Because they grow so fast. They change their body, their voice, their thinking, their understanding, that grandparents will be surprised. And I find it beautiful that the book of Bereshit ends with this holy picture of a grandfather blessing his grandchildren. Because it is perhaps on that relationship more than any other that the future of Jewish continuity lies. Because it is there, in what we can learn from our grandparents, from grandpa, from grandma, or what you can teach as a grandfather, as a grandmother to your grandchildren, that the future of the Jewish people dwells. We learn how to be good Jews at our grandparents' table, with the aroma of their food, with their songs, with their gifts, with their hugs, with their kisses. And this is one of the relationships that was more affected by the pandemic, because those of us who are blessed to live with the person that we love, with our spouses, with our significant others, we continue to seeing them every day, to touching them every day, to kissing them every day. Those of us who are blessed to live with our children, we continue to have breakfast and have lunch and have dinner with them. But the relationship between grandchildren and grandparents will need a lot of catch-up after we get the vaccine, after we are able to travel, to see each other again, to visit each other, to spend New Year's and Thanksgivings and Rosh Hashanahs and Shabbats. Some of us are thinking on our next trip, who knows when, but for sure it will be a trip to visit our grandparents. And it's also a challenge to think of yourself as a Jewish grandfather. You know, those of us who are very, very young, we don't envision ourselves as grandparents, but if we want to be successful Jews, we need to start working on that. We need to start learning those recipes. We need to start learning those songs, those traditions, because one day we will be at the head of the table. And it will be in our ability to embody the virtues of our parents and our grandparents that we will be able to secure the future of the Jewish people. To our children, we're expecting one day to see Jewish grandchildren at our table. To us, there's a lot to learn. And to those grandparents who are watching, hanging there, it's happening very, very soon. You'll be able to hug, to kiss, to welcome your grandchildren at your home again. We all look forward to that. May we all have a Shabbat Shalom, Umeborach. May we all have a peaceful Shabbat full of blessings. We are going to invite our children virtually to open our ark as we bless them.
Please rise.
We bless them with the words of Birkat HaKohanim that begin with that blessing that Jacob gave to his grandchildren, Ephraim and Menashe. We put our hands in the head of our boys and we bless them by saying, Yesimcha Elohim, Ephraim Bechi Menashe. May God make you like Ephraim and Menashe, continuity of the children of Israel. We now put our hands in the head of our daughters and we bless them by saying, Yesimech Elohim Kesara Rivka Rachel Belea. And to all of us, to all of our children, our grandchildren, we bless them with the holy words of the priestly benediction, Birkat HaKohen.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha, Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and protect you. May God show you favor and be gracious to you. May God show you kindness and bless you with a Shabbat of Shalom, a year of Shalom, a world of Shalom, as we all say, Amen. I invite you to remain standing. If you're able, we join together, Aleinu, page 12. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon l'kol, l'atzik gedula li'oseh b'reshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, ve'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, ve'goralenu kechol amonam, v'anachnu korim
ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Those of us in mourning and those observing Yortzeit remain standing. The rest of us may be seated. Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 13. This past week, we mourn the passing of Sheldon Shermer and extend our condolences to Rick and to Sarah on the passing of Rick's uncle. We also mourn the passing of Michelle Rosnick's beloved cousin, Lydia Pinero. May her memory be a blessing, and may you continue to find comfort and strength in the days and weeks, months ahead. And we also extend our condolences to Arlene Glazer on the passing of her lifelong friend, Joyce Bernstein. May her memory be a blessing. This coming week, we observe the following Yortzeits with love. We remember David Berendt, Leon Cohn, Serena Danone, Dorothy Fetterman, Doris Friedman, Nathan Glass, Morris Glazer, Herman Greenberg, Sidney Grossman, Samuel Kay, Bernard Kessler, William Levine, Marjorie Levy, Bonnie Starr Markson, Norman Naui, Sidney Newman, Helen Rappaport, Richard Robbins, Arthur Rozenek, Lydia Salvadori, Esther Schwartz, Siegfried Servos, Arlene Stern, Les Turchin, and Rona Wasserman. In solemn testimony to the unbroken faith that links the generations one to another, we join now in the Mourner's Kaddish, page 13. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach eritei v'yamlich machutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'me'amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal Shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechamata, da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. I invite you to remain standing or to rise if you're able as we offer Kiddush for Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu b'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchi lanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. חיים. על נטילת ידיים המוציא לחם מן הארץ. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'teyavon.
Before we conclude the service, I want to remind everyone that this week we resume all of our adult education learning opportunities. There are classes I believe, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week. So make sure you check the website, you register either the Talmud class. My adult education class on Thursday at 3 p.m. will have a guest speaker, a rabbi, who is going to teach us very interesting things on Thursday. There's Sam Edelman's class on Wednesdays, I believe. So there's a lot of things going on. And also I want to invite you to go to our website and register to come visit us. If you feel it's safe for you, come worship with us. We have very limited spots, but it's beautiful to see people here, representatives of all ages, groups, languages that make our community and our congregation beautiful and full of lots of blessings. We are blessed to have you, and we want to have you here if that's something that you would consider next week or in the weeks ahead. Shabbat Shalom to everyone. We're going to conclude our tefillah just as we began by celebrating how beautiful, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters to be dwelling together. Hine ma tov u'manayim, shevet
טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד הנה מה 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 טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please join us tomorrow morning at 9:15 a.m. online. Good Shabbos. We'll see you next time.